Welcome back, everybody. I'm Music Nerd here, back at the apartment. It's been a while, so I'm glad to be coming here to talk about J. Cole and his return with his new album, The Off Season. Now, I've been kind of wanting to do album reviews more in this channel, but over the past several months, it just hasn't really been a lot of music that I was passionate about talking on this channel. So, in the near future, I will be doing more album reviews. Not, every week, but every once in a while, talking about artists that I'm a huge fan of or some of the major releases that are coming out the year. So stay tuned for more album reviews on this channel. Before I talk about this J. Cole album, as always, if you support this channel, hit that like button, hit the subscribe button down below. If you're a return subscriber and you want to see more album reviews, hit the notification bell, talk about in the comments section what albums you want me to review on this channel. And yeah, let's get into it. So J. Cole coming back with his first studio album in the past 3 years since KOD dropped in 2018, which seems like decades ago. The world was definitely in a different place last time J. Cole came out. And he's been keeping busy with features, and Lucy's obviously doing the Revenge of the Dreamers album that came out in 2019. And, so he's been staying in the eye, but as we know about J. Cole, he's not the guy that's going to drop like a single every month like Drake does. He's not going to be in the media doing these interviews, doing these little, kind of like collab videos. Like he very much stays to himself. And the thing about me and J. Cole is that, I obviously respect his talent, but I feel like with his studio albums especially, he hasn't been the most consistent, and I feel like he always punches under his weight. And I don't always feel like I get that energy from him that I get from his Lucy's and his features, because when he does, go on other people's tracks with different production, he like brings his all. He like delivers. I think that 2018, 2019 feature run that he had is one of the best in recent hip hop memory. And so I'm always like, why can't we get that on his own projects? And so, going through his discography, it's always kind of been, mixed opinions. Like, Sideline Story, I thought was cool. Born Sinner, I didn't like. Forest Hills Drive, I loved. But For Your Eyes Only was subpar. KOD was a little better. Going into this album, I was kind of like, all right, I don't know what to expect, but I always hope with a new Cole project that he finally rises to that level that I always want him to be. And coming off of KOD, he's been releasing some pretty great songs. Middle Child, I thought was a very strong single. And last year, coming up with the Lewis Street EP with the Climb Back, which is one of my favorite J. Cole songs in years, with that soulful production that's very reminiscent of like 2000s Kanye with the Chipmunk soul sample, and Cole just like going at his critics, going at fellow rappers. And I'm like, whoa, where has this Cole been all along? Usually Cole in his studio albums, he's very subdued, always trying to be like the wise older figure, but this Cole is like angry, he's exciting, he's passionate, and it's kind of all right, here we go. And then The Lion King on Ice, which was also in the same EP, I thought was very well done. So I'm thinking, okay, Cole is showing us, different side of himself. And then a week before this album came out, he released Interlude, which I thought, okay, this is another strong single. J. Cole is still like very, passionate. His delivery is confident. That made me excited for this album. Right away, the first song come out, and 95 South, the opener to this album, and immediately, who do you hear? Fucking the legend, the myth himself, Killer Cam, coming out. And I was like, whoa. I felt like I was just transported back to 2002 with the Cameron intro. And this is very, the production on it, just like with Boy Wonder, just that bombastic production. Of course, that You Don't Know sample from Jay-Z's Blueprint, that just immediately just caught my ear. And Cole's like going off on this track, talking about, how rappers are flaunting their wealth and like but they're overrated. They're making bloated 30-song albums, and they're not making much money, and they only sell like only 100,000. I'm like, who? Whoa! Like Cole is like no longer the hip hop Gandhi. He's like turning on, and I'm like, who is he talking about? He's throwing a bunch of subs. And this is a thing that's happening throughout the album. He throws a bunch of subs at rappers, and it's kind of like, whoa, who's he talking about? But I like the energy on this track. I always say that if you have a great opener to an album, it sets the tone very well, and that's what this song did. 95 South, and I guess 95 South is referring to the Interstate 95, which goes from New York to North Carolina, where J. Cole is originally from. And I like how it started out with, the Cameron, who's obviously with the Diplomats, a very prominent New York rapper, and then you ended with Little John, which, again, I was like, whoa, this is like 10-year-old me just like getting hype again. And Lil Jon, who is a prominent Southern rapper, so he's finally come home. He's embracing his roots. It reminded me of that GOMD song at Forest Hills Drive. Very Southern influence, and I thought it was one of the best tracks on the album. Then we go to the next song, Amari, which is a little bit more subdued. Features co-production through Timbaland, which I didn't know until after the album. But this song features a fair amount of basketball references, and that's kind of like the concept of this album, the off-season, referring to how basketball players, after the season, they try to work on their bodies, try to train to be better. And J. Cole uses that analogy for, basketball off-season to his own life, how he's trying to train to get better, how he's trying to be a better rapper, how to stay relevant, how to not let the success get to his head. And so a lot of basketball references, a lot of name checks to, basketball players like Russell Westbrook, LeBron, and even having a actual Damian Lillard sample of an interview, which correlates to J. Cole's own story. So, I guess, and obviously the album cover, it's a basketball hoop on fire. So, yeah, it's not subtle at all where J. Cole's trying to get at. But usually, rappers try to do this type of metaphor, and it's like, all right, it's kind of corny, but I like the way that J. Cole kind of sticks with it, and I think he does it in a way where it's like, very heartfelt, and you can tell that he put a lot of thought into this. The problem that I had with the KOD concept is that while it came from a very sincere place, and how J. Cole was trying to talk about the state of the world and how kids are coming out drugs, it did feel like it wasn't as well thought out as this. Like, you can tell that he really cared about the concept of, working hard in the off season and applying basketball to his own life. And obviously J. Cole, we just heard that he played pro basketball in Africa. He used to play in St. John's as a walk-on. So yeah, J. Cole, obviously this is something that is very personal to him, but I think it works here. Then we go to the song My Life, which is honestly my favorite song in the entire album. And wait, do we have is that a feature that I see on a J. Cole album? What? That's foreign. I mean, I thought J. Cole's the one that goes platinum with no features. But seriously, it was really nice to see 21 Savage come on this album. We know of their collaboration on the song A Lot, which won them a Grammy. And to me, this song is kind of like a spiritual sequel to A Lot. Again, with the classic soul sample, J. Cole and 21 Savage being introspective about their lives, talking about their respective coming-ups, and talking about what life would have been if they followed the wrong path. And, especially with 21 Savage, who's had a rough couple of years, I thought 21 Savage, brought the heat on this song. He put out a very, very strong verse. And so, yeah, I mean, I thought this song was fantastic. That A Lot was a song that was one of my favorite songs of 2018. I wouldn't be mad at a 21 Savage J. Cole EP. I think they work great off each other, which a couple years ago you probably would not have thought that, but they have such great chemistry. And I think even though they're both different, the thing about J. Cole is that I don't think that people realize that he does accept the newer rappers. I think they look at like that, was it the 1985 song? They think, oh, he hates the Little Pumps, he hates the new rappers. But I think that he does care for the new rap generation. I think he looks at guys like 21 Savage saying, all right, maybe they're not the most lyrical, but I can definitely connect with their story as well. So I think that J. Cole, 21 Savage, and Baz, who is also a Dreamville artist, I think they all came together with a great track here. And the next song, Applying Pressure, another great track. And I'm like, okay, this album is really coming off well. There's not a bad song yet. And, Applying Pressure, obviously going back to, the basketball theme of it, when, the clock is ticking, you need to hit that buzzer beater, can you rise up to the occasion? And J. Cole, once again, subbing other rappers, saying, you talk about being wealthy, you're talking about being great, but you're really not. And so I mean, listen, I don't know who got in J. Cole's like brain, but J. Cole is pissed off and he's coming for everybody. He's tired of the criticism that he's received, and this is a J. Cole that I've been waiting to hear on a studio album. I'm like, yes, we're finally getting that J. Cole that's like saying fuck people, like I've been too nice, like I'm the shit, and yeah, some of the braggadocio, it may be too much for some people, but I think that with J. Cole, he's earned the right to talk that shit. I mean, this is a guy that has never not had a #1 album. This is a guy that sells arenas. This is a guy that has really done it on his own terms. So he has the right to be braggadocious, and I like the fact that he's becoming more confident and really just talking that shit. So Applying Pressure, another great song, which leads into another great song, Punching the Clock. Kind of referencing, how workers, they come in, and even though it may not be the most glamorous time, to just kind of like do like all these fundamental things with training and getting your body right, or maybe you're working at that job where it's like, all right, it's not the most pleasing job, but you're on the grind, you're working every day to get better, and that's what J. Cole is kind of referencing to here. It's a very short song. I think it's the shortest on the album, but J. Cole, for like a minute and a half, he's just the different flows. He's like really just coming at it, and like it's impressive. It's J. Cole like finally like getting it. It almost makes you wish that the song could have gone on for a lot more, but definitely appreciate this track. Pride is the Devil featuring Little Baby. Yeah, not a bad song, but it's definitely the weakest on this album. I think overall this album doesn't really have any skippables, but if there's a song that I could do without, probably, Pride is the Devil is one of them. And, J. Cole just talking about how pride is the 7th deadly sin, and if you get caught up in pride, it turns you into an evil person. And yeah, it's been done a lot of times. I mean, Kendrick did it on the Damn album, but it wasn't annoying. I can see where J. Cole was coming from. Little Baby, when his verse started up, like, okay, he's not sticking to the topic, but eventually his verse gets better, and him talking about like, I don't want to fuck up my career, I'm on drugs, but I'm still trying to see the bigger picture. I'm still trying to prove myself, so I'm trying to not create my own downfall. The next song, Let Go of My Hand, is a track that's basically talking about kind of innocence. Once it goes away, everything changes. And I think it's referencing how he talked about his son telling him to let go of his hand because he wanted to walk and, be his own person. And that's kind of what J. Cole is talking about, that eventually, I hope that everything that I teach my son living in this world as a black kid in America, which, every black father has to kind of have that talk with his son to prepare him for the cruelness that the world can show to a black person, and how J. Cole kind of struggles with that, and how he wants to prepare his son to be the best black person that he can be. And I thought that was a very, very strong sentiment. Obviously, it's relating to what a lot of black parents go through, but Another big thing that came out of this song, and something that I didn't know about, is that J. Cole had a feud with Puff Daddy, who goes by Diddy now. Had no idea, and I was looking on the internet saying, okay, these guys actually did feud way back in 2013, and I was like, why is he talking about that? And then once you hear the outro, you hear Diddy himself closing out the song with a nice little kind of spoken word thing that's like a sermon. So like, oh shit. I like the fact that he talked about how people you know can grow from arguments. Like, you don't have to hold on to a grudge. You can actually learn from it and make peace with other people. The next two songs, as I mentioned, Interlude, Decline Back, are on this album. I was very surprised to not hear Lion King on Ice, because we had heard that the Climb Back and Lion King on Ice was going to be on this album, but only the Climb Back made the cut. And to be honest with you, the Climb Back I thought was the better song. And so I really don't have any disputes with Lion King on Ice not being on this album. But anyways, Interlude and Climb Back, both songs that were released as singles before the album, and both of them kind of talking about the same things, about how J. Cole is trying to rediscover his love for the game and trying to work hard to be the best at his craft. I thought these are, like I said, two very well done singles, and the fact that they're back to back, really nice sequencing that it's like, okay, like, a lot of people do like rap interludes, but J. Cole actually made the interlude into an actual song, to something actually worth listening to. So yeah, both of these songs I thought were well done. The next song, Close, another one of my favorite songs on the album. J. Cole kind of talking about how his friend succumbed to drugs and eventually getting shot, and talking about that relationship. To me, it harkened back to the song A Tale of Two Cities, and a lot of the other songs on Forest Hills Drive, where Cole is talking about how he went one path and his friends went through another path, and unfortunately the friends that went through that other path didn't always make it out alive. And so Cole kind of feels like this survivor's guilt at times, which is a theme that he talks about through his work. But I think here, with the song being titled Close, J. Cole is just talking about a close friend that he loved, and but he just couldn't get him out of that environment. And it's a very powerful song, and I think Cole is very good when he's personal, when he's introspective, and I think that's what I kind of missed from J. Cole from these past studio albums, where For Your Eyes Only, he was talking about his other friend, and KOD he was talking about, like, kids being on drugs and like the government and all that stuff. And yeah, it's nice and that stuff needs to be said, but it's kind of like, at a certain point we want to hear about what's going on in your life, J. Cole. And I'm glad that Cole kind of went back to the basics, and just like, I'm letting you into my world. I'm telling you stories that I haven't told people before. And Cole just really being vulnerable about like how he feels lucky to still be alive, lucky to be as successful as he is, and to not take it for granted, which plays into the last song, Hunger on Hillside, saying that he's gonna be the same person as he always was. He's gonna stay humble. It's kind of like a response to Pride is the Devil, where he's saying, I'm not gonna let pride, I'm not gonna let all these other things out there that are going to change me as a person, like it happened to other rappers. Like, I'm still gonna be the same person. I'm gonna still stay true to myself. And so I thought it was a very well done closer, with James Fauntleroy for nice vocals on the track. So yeah, overall, I thought the Off Season was a very good album. Probably my favorite of his since Forest Hills Drive. I think J. Cole kind of, went back to the basics and got a lot more personal, got a lot more introspective. But it was also a more confident J. Cole. This is the J. Cole that I've always wanted in an album. That kind of fiery, energetic, passionate, almost braggadocious Cole that he shows on other people's tracks, and he finally brought to his own work. And the production is great, kind of that laid back, soulful. Props to J. Cole too for also handling some of the production here himself. No bad songs. Even though I didn't really like Pride the Devil that much, but if that's the worst song on the album, that tells you how good the album is. No corny lines, no almond milk lines. Although he did have a couple of lines here and there that are a little questionable, like the Danny Kane line. Uh, you know, I don't know. That's a little sus. But the one where he says, "I'm gonna put M's on your head," you Luigi's brother. I thought that was pretty cool. I mean, if anybody else said that, that would have been corny. But the way Cole delivers it, it's like, okay, that I can fuck with that line. But tell me what you think about this album. Did you like it? Did you hate it? Tell me your favorite songs that came out this album. What you expect from J. Cole's next work. YouTube recommends these 2 hour videos after this one. I will be doing a St. Vincent album review that'll be dropping next week. And yeah, until next time, as always, peace.